Excuse me. Excuse me. That was me. That was me coughing. I apologize. I apologize for all the noise. Goodness, one of my chins itches. One of my chins itches. Maybe the third my third chin. I mean, maybe not. Who can say? Doo 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 bope bope. Right. All right. Got a bunch of stuff to do today. I was gonna wait. I was gonna be like, you know what? I'll hold off. And I was like, why? Why hold off? Why not collect some minutes while I'm doing it? You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Hopefully people will be in. A lot of traffic out there today. A lot of traffic. You know what I'm saying? We're live now. We are live now. Wait now. Reading stuff. Bodoo, bodoo, bope, bope. Yeah, I'm gonna get some writing in. I gotta get other stuff in. All right, so hold on. Let me do. Let me do this. So I got to get a cover done. And I got to find a. Gotta find. This is what I gotta find. Nope, that's a 1 to 5. I don't need a 1 to 5 because it's 6. Six. I mean, that one looks like he's got like 12 books on it, but he's saying I can't do it. I got it. I got it. I've done this from other people in the past. I'm not sure what's the problem. Here we go. All right. Not going to pay for it. All right, so this is the down. All right. Let's see where these are. Let me see where these are. I got to find the. I'm a little bit disorganized today. I.e., I got to put you. Etc. What happened? I don't. What? Start order. Start disorder. Disorder is right. You know what I'm saying? Okay. All right. So now the guy wants to talk to me. Hello, Shelly Rosamilia. Welcome to the chat. I am. I realize I don't have a cover, 3D box set cover for my Down and Dirty box set, which is coming out tomorrow. I was like, you know what? Let me do that right now. Then let me get some writing in right now. I made what is wrong with this thing? I made shrimp, like maybe 6 or 7 shrimp, whatever was left in the bag. That whole thing of fresh mushrooms, some of the peppers and onions in some oil, throw some seasonings on it, got it cooked down really nice. And then I took a bag of did the 90-second herbal rice or whatever it was, Uncle Ben's rice. Threw that in the microwave, put it all together. That was my lunch. It was friggin' delicious. So that's done. Then I'll put the actual box set tomorrow together. Yeah, herbal rice. Delicious herbal rice. I took out a lot of chicken for dinner tonight, but I figure, you know what? Some of it I can use tomorrow for lunch and or dinner. Because I was like, I'll pull out 6 pieces, but then there's probably like twice that many pieces. But I was like, or maybe less. I think there was less than 6 in the bag, like 4 or 5 in the bag, like 10 pieces of tenderloin. It might not be a ton, depending on what you want to make. Happy Monday. I know oxymoron. Keith Gueva. That's how you pronounce your last name, by the way, Keith Gueva. So yeah, so we got a lot of chicken for tonight to make, but you'll figure it out. And I'm gonna get some writing in as well. Wait for this guy to get done with my 3D box set cover. Keith says, "Good to know." Yeah, right. Good to know that you that we're having chicken for dinner tonight. I'm not sure what, but my wife is on right now, and I just told her. So now her mind starts thinking, "What can I do with the chicken?" The only thing I really do with chicken is chicken cutlets. Throw them in some egg and breadcrumb. Delicious. And I gotta get some writing in today, but I just don't feel it. Now I gotta get this box set thing done, and so many other things that gotta get done. Hopefully this guy will be done pretty quick. I can put all that together today. I did a book review, the new Dean Koontz book. That's got to go up on YouTube today. I wanted you to know that your videos have been keeping me motivated. I appreciate that, Keith. I do. Listen, if you have any other ideas for me, you being a writer yourself, about other videos to make in the future, I would appreciate that. Because I keep a list on a couple of post-it notes, and as I go through them, I cross them out, and then I go every Wednesday and every Sunday I put out a new writing related video. So trying to help. And it helps me to keep me motivated as well. So the fact that you just said that is wonderful. Thank you. I'm going to guess that's Northwest Country Girl 17 says hello. Hello back. Thanks for jumping on the Twitch. I'm supposed to be getting some writing in today. I just wrote a line. So, I mean, I got some writing in. What's all that beeping noises? Country Girl says same. Well, good luck. Stop trying to. Here's my problem with Fiverr. They keep trying to. This guy keeps not the guy that's doing the 3D box set cover, but Fiverr's like you. Also, you should have this. Also, why don't you buy this? Also, why don't you get this? Also, why don't you mind your own business, Fiverr? Chad Lutsky in the house. Afternoon, man. Got you some hours this weekend. I streamed 18 of your live streams on YouTube. Just kept them playing. Thank you. Thank you, Chad Lutsky. That's what I'm looking for. That level of friendship is what I'm looking for. And I appreciate you jumping on the YouTube live as well. So hang out with me. We'll do some chatting. Hope your weekend was great. Country Girl says, currently procrastinating and avoiding adulting chores. You know, that's not bad. Mr. Frank in the house. Twitch who? Yeah. I am on Twitch also. But I'm thinking, here's my thing. I'm only going to do Twitch and YouTube together on Mondays. Wednesday, Friday, and any other bonus day will only be YouTube Live now. Because I need the minutes. I need people to be on here, on there, wherever, to watch me. But I still want to keep the Twitch active. So once a week, I'll also do Twitch. But otherwise, Mr. Frank says Twitch 1. I get it. So, but otherwise, if you're joining me on Twitch right now, I appreciate it. If you are joining me on YouTube Live, I really appreciate it because I'm trying to build up and need more people like Chad Lutsky. 18 hours of live streams this weekend. Appreciate that. Frank says, I'm going to miss subscribing 20 times a month. Yeah, I mean, you can still subscribe, though, because it's still money in my pocket. So feel free when it pops up, feel free to subscribe. I'm not abandoning it. I'm only going to do like once a week now. Because I was figuring out the hours, and I'm like, you know what? If I do all three, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, I do both of them, and I do 2 hours on each, I've almost run out of minutes on the StreamYard, and I still have to do my Wednesday and Sunday videos, and me and my wife have to do a couple of review videos, and I have a book review video I got to do, so... Chad says, I swear you've gotten like 400 subs in the past week. I am averaging about 100 subs a day right now. So I've actually gotten about 700 subs, I think, in the last 7 days, something like that. Maybe a little less. And again, it's that 5-day delay thing. So I'm getting about 3,000. I'm averaging about 3,000 submissions a month now. So about 100 a day, roughly, which is very good. Frank says, and you're going to randomly flash the nice guy on screen because I'm going to miss him also. Frank says, no, it's all or nothing. Well, you know what, then? If you're not in, at least then you're over here. You're not wasting my time over there. Yeah. I don't know if you know this, Frank, but we're having chicken for dinner tonight. I got a new follower on Twitch, though. Well, here we go. Here's a message. All right, so I've already received that. Frank says, "Oh, chicken, yeah, chicken, yeah. We do not mess around here. We don't just go like, oh, let's just have any normal. No, we're like, you know what? Chicken for dinner. Chicken." I just got to say this. I'm just going to throw it out there. That had to be the worst, most boring Super Bowl ever. That first half, oh, let's kick a couple 3 field goals. Awful. Awful. Commercials, for the most part, boring. I did not watch any halftime shows because I don't think I've ever watched any halftime shows. Not interested. We've got a fantastic video topic for you, Frank says. How I hosted the world's quietest Super Bowl party. pretty much. It was me, the cat sleeping. I had the sound muted because Chris Collinsworth is an awful, awful announcer who just loves to hear himself talk. So I literally was just sitting there with the sound off. And I did make my, what do you call it? So I made my cheesesteak sliders. My wife sent me a recipe and I made them. And they were friggin' amazing. Amazing. I made too many of them. I made the slider rolls. There were 9, 3, 3, 3. And then you cut it in half. You don't break them apart. And then you throw I made cheesesteak. I made, but like good lean meat, not just regular like steakums or something. And then some peppers and onions. Provolone cheese, covered it. Put the other half the top back. Slather some butter on the top of the bun. Tin foil in the oven for 15 minutes. Take it out. Take the tin foil off. In the oven for another 5 minutes. Take it out. Then I had to cut them all and then eat them. It was delicious. All while Chris Collinsworth might have been saying something. I don't know. I wasn't listening. Sorry, big game party. Yeah, you're not allowed to say Super Bowl. What are you trying to get me arrested? Keith says, video topic. How many rejections before you reevaluate a story? Okay. I'm writing that one down, Keith. I like that one. That's a good one. I appreciate that one. That was definitely going to be on the list. Chad said, we had friends over we hadn't seen in 12 years. So there's a lot of talking and I couldn't hear the commercials. I just saw a bunch of AI celebrities youthified in several commercials. Yeah, that was a lot. There was a lot of that garbage going on. NW Country. I'm just going to call you Country Girl. Country Girl said, spent the whole game in my room playing mindless games on my phone, then waited till about midnight for the fireworks to die down. CX1 and cannot have possibly cared less. Yeah, I didn't care about either team really at all. My mother's always been a Patriots fan, so she I'm sure was not happy, and our nephew is a Seahawks fan, but I'm sure he watched the game. I'm sure he enjoyed it. As Frank says, I can see you screaming at everyone to shut up because the game is on, and then 5 seconds after the room gets quiet, you hit the mute button on the TV and everyone exchanges nervous glances. Yeah. I'm not. I don't want to watch the game with anybody, and it's not even like I really just care about the game. I just don't like people talking while I'm trying to watch television. Country Girl says, happens when you're born and raised in the Pacific Northwest. Yep, I'm sure that was crazy up there. Crazy time for those people. Frank says Muppet something was best commercial, and I don't think it was an official Super Bowl commercial either. Charlie Wall's in the house. I didn't care about either team, but I know a few Pats fans, so I'm glad they lost. Yeah, that's the way I always feel about things. Oh, you really like this team? I hope they lose. Charlie and Frank were both in the made the finals for the Crystal Lake Publishing short story theme, which if you're on there, you can read both of their stories. I think they're both should be live now. Country Girl says, up here gets wins in sports ball so rarely. Yeah. Frank trying to be funny says, my Jags held their own. You know what, though, at this point, it doesn't matter if you're a Giants or a Jets fan up there. You know what, the Jags, you throw them right in on that same group. In fact, they had more wins than the Jets and the Giants combined. Before the game, this is how I know I'm in quite a mood. I'm off all week. I've been just kind of off, and my wife's been really cool about it. You know, and because she knows I'm just a little off. The depression, whatever. Yesterday before the game, I was like, I'm gonna watch some television. I wrote yesterday morning with Peter Marsh. Got a lot in. I got a what do you call it? I got all my emails done. I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna watch some television. And one of the things I'm like, oh, a new 30 for 30, a new one for me. And it was the Philly special, Philly from the Super Bowl from when the Eagles beat the Patriots. And they had, the Kelsey brother not married to the famous or not dating the famous chick, and a couple other players. And anyway, I watched that, and at one point I start tearing up. And I'm not really even sure why. I'm not an Eagles fan. In fact, I hate their fans. I'm not a Patriots fan. Why am I getting all worked up over this? I didn't get it. It was a really good 30 for 30 though. Charlie says my story was posted this morning on their Patreon. Well, good luck. Good luck. Frank says, how did you feel about Bon Jovi introducing the Pats? Well, he's always been a huge Patriots fan. I mean, that goes back forever. So I was not surprised at that one at all. I think I did see him, the commercial with him in it. Country Grove says, can at least try to get some writing in, so go into lurk mode for a while. You know what? Not a problem. Good luck with the writing. Frank says, sorry to join you Sunday morning. It was ungodly cold in the house, and I was not in the mood to write in crippling cold. I get it. The other day you said, Peter Marsh reminds me of somebody, and when I say it, you're not going to be able to look away or to unsee it. But then I never heard who you said. I have three. You ready? This is who Peter Marsh looks like to me, Frank. And you tell me if this was in your thing. When he's younger, he said when he had hair as a redhead, he said people thought he was Josh Gates. He looked like Josh Gates from Expedition Unknown. And I could see that. He also said he was reminded of the lead singer of Queens of the Stone Age, that guy. All right, maybe. But this is the one that I looked at him and I said, Louis C.K. He looks exactly like Louis C.K. So he's like, all right, let's get some writing. I said, okay, but don't do what Louis did in front of those two women in the hotel room, me and you. And then he's like, all right, I promise I won't. Frank says, my daughter said, hey, it's that old guy that spoke at my graduation. Wow. Those animals need to get a beating. I mean, so disrespectful to their heritage. Frank says, yeah, I did leave you hanging on that one. Yes, one of those is mine. Which one did you think, though, for Peter Marsh? Which one to you looks more Peter Marshist? Peter Marshist. Now what's... So the last couple of videos I've put up, I keep getting like problems with them. Then I got to go in on YouTube. I'm like, no, there's no. One of them was because stupid TikTok on one of the shorts or one of the unboxing ones had music underneath it, which I never clicked that, and apparently it automatically did it. That was annoying. So then that one got flagged. Why'd I say it like that? Flagged. Which one did you think I thunk? I thought you definitely would be Louis C.K. That was what I immediately thought of. When you said that, I'm thinking probably Louis C.K. because that's the person I think he looks like. Come on. All right. Somebody wants to know what audiobooks of mine to start reading. Good, good. Read them all. Keith says music was louder than you in that one. I know, but I don't realize that. Somebody had said, "Hey, what's with the music?" And I was like, "What music?" And I went back and watched it. I'm like, "Oh!" So then I had to take the music out of it on YouTube, not on TikTok. Nobody, I don't even know why I post on TikTok anymore. Frank says, "I definitely don't think he looks like Queens of the Stone Age guy." Yeah, I mean the only reason that is because they're redheads. That's it. I don't know. Who can say? I will more than likely be on tomorrow as well. There's a bonus Tuesday, but only on YouTube Live. And then the same with Wednesday, I'll be back here as well. Frank says, I can also see Josh Gates, but I personally would not have made that correlation. Yeah, wouldn't have picked that one either. The only one I really saw was Louis C.K. Louis C.K. I saw Louis C.K. was on Bad Friends not too long ago. I guess he's inching his way back in to see if he's still canceled or not. Supposedly canceled. Chad says, amazing he has been able to come back from that. Yeah. But I guess what works for him and other people is other people are doing really awful things as well. So you just got to kind of keep your head down, and then you know I know he did a couple of bigger shows, and it's I mean let's be honest, without getting into the politics and everything else. In this day and age, you can pretty much do anything you want. There's always going to be a bunch of people that are going to protect you and tell everybody how great you are, and it doesn't matter how awful of a person you are. We're allowed those quotations. We're allowed to do that. Frank says Louis C.K. just releases his own comedy specials on his website that you can buy direct and watch. From what I understand, the Model 6. Yeah, he's doing really well with that. He's doing a few club dates here and there in cities that traditionally like him. You know, he's been doing the podcast circuit. He's been doing all that stuff, and I think he's doing well. My wife and I on Saturday night we went to a restaurant, fancy restaurant, Raintree in St. Augustine. And as we're walking out, they're playing like this, like what I call like sorrowful jazz music. And as we're walking, I kind of laughed and I said to my wife, "I feel like we're being filmed in a Louis C.K. TV show because it's the if you've ever watched any of the Louis C.K. Louis or any of those, it's the music they always seem to play whenever girlfriend breaks up with him or something awful happens to him or something." And it was like that music was playing. I thought that was really funny. I'm like, wow, that's literally the music they're gonna play. I was like, hey, thanks for spending all that money in our restaurant. Now we're gonna shame walk you out because you ate too much. Chad says, wonder if he has jokes about his ordeal, like when Pee Wee Herman came out at the VMAs and said, heard any good jokes lately after his arrest? That was great. Yeah. Frank says Louis was a great show, man. I love that show. And what was the one before it? He had a couple of. He had the one with Jim Norton, right? Or am I remembering that wrong? Yeah, Louis was really. I thought that was a really good show. I always liked his comedy. I mean, then you listen to some of it, and it's like, oh, he was actually talking about things he was doing, but he wasn't really just going to come out and mention it. $66 here. I gotta open this window. Get a little warm in here. Life with Louie. Was that what? Yeah, those are good shows. And I like all that happened. I'm like, oh, I guess we're not getting another season of Louie. I didn't enjoy that one as much. If that was the one before this last one, then yeah, I didn't either. I thought it was the way they shot it was kind of old school cheesy. I really preferred this the last one. But if he seems to be doing well with what he's doing, then good for him. We all make mistakes, although that was kind of a really bad mistake. I don't think if I did that and then I was like to my wife, hey, I made a mistake. And she'd be like, you know what? I forgive you. Remember when Dice basically copied Louis, and that was a great show also. Yeah. I watched some of the other day, when you're just watching random shorts and then you get into like a loop where they're like, oh, you like this? We're going to show you 400 more from this. And it was the Andrew Dice Clay and was it John Lovitz, right? Those two in a supermarket. The clips of them going back and forth and arguing and talking to people and stuff. I'm like, I didn't even know this existed. I didn't even know Andrew Dice Clay was still around. I remember when he was Andrew Clay for that one brief thing, trying to make his comeback. It seems like a guy like that did not save any money from back in the day. Seems like that guy probably just felt like, I'm going to just be making millions and millions of dollars all my life. Frank says, oh, that was for Dice's TikTok. Oh, okay. Chad says, I remember when he was Andy Clay Mellencamp. Yeah, his singing career was outrageously good. Frank says his TikTok is hilarious. There were some funny parts, but I saw maybe like a dozen of the two of them. Me and a guy grew up with, Dieter Shapinski. That's right, Dieter Shapinski. The two of us went and saw Dice at in the round at Madison Square Garden back in the day when we were I believe we were still in high school. That was amazing. There were a lot, I mean a lot of women flashing their boobs at that. I mean a lot, like dozens. Frank says he walks up to random people in New York City and asks them if they are waiting to take a picture with him, the international face of fame. Yeah, I'll have to watch. I'll have to watch more of him. Somebody called me from Virginia. I would imagine that's not a real person. Frank says, and the funny part is mostly nobody recognizes him and they just try to run away from him like he's a random lunatic. Yeah, right. What's that other guy who does it? Billy on the Street. That guy has some funny ones because he's always got celebrities with him and nobody knows who they are, which is funny. You know, I watched yesterday too. I watched the latest episode of Impractical Jokers. I'm like, we're still going with this. In fact, I read a thing that said that this is their highest rated season yet. I'm like, with all of the controversies, I'm surprised that they didn't pull the show, and I'm surprised that people are still watching it. I mean, I'm watching. I don't care. Murr never hit on me. Joe's not there anymore, and he never hit on me back in the day as well. But I also watched a thing about a video about that Q was not supposed to be the fourth guy. It was some other guy. And apparently that guy, his girlfriend or his wife, I don't know if it was a girlfriend or a wife at the time, was basically more or less said to him, yeah, you can't do this. This will be embarrassing for the family. And basically, I don't want to be with you if you're going to do something like this. And so he basically was like, all right, I can't do this. Get somebody else. And they're like, I think the guy was a firefighter and who was friends with Q, and everybody knew Q from back in the day. So Frank says Q wants to quit so bad. Well, I don't blame him. I mean, at this point, you want to distance yourself from all of that garbage. And he's been in other shows. And he's done a couple of bit parts in movies and stuff. And I think he's just at this point, he's like, you know what? I just want to do something else. He was on one of those shows. I forget which one it is. It's like where they're talking about funny things that happen to people or videos or whatever. And he's been on one of those a lot. I keep seeing commercials for it. And I'm like, oh, you know what? At least he's doing something else. I mean, their bits are still the stuff they do is still funny. I just don't like to have a lot of their celebrity buddies are always showing up. That's kind of, I don't know. Jason Long is in the house. Who cares, Jason Long? Some weird dude with his head and entire face tattooed. Some singer or something. I don't know who this is. This old man doesn't know who that is. Oh, Post Malone is on? I don't care. Frank says, I remember listening to Tell 'em Steve, Dave, and Q talking about this show him and his friends were shooting. Well, back in the day, that's interesting. I didn't even know until my wife pointed out. She's like, "Did you know Sal was married?" I said, "I had no idea. I had no idea." I know he does his comedy tours, and obviously, even though Joe got back with his wife, he's still not going to be part of the show. Yeah, he's too busy trying to pick up underage girls, I guess. I got to give Chad Letsky a hand though because he watched 16 18 hours of my videos over the weekend. I appreciate that. I honestly really do. I appreciate that. Chet says, remember scare tactics? No, what was scare tactics? Scare. It was an American television show, is what it was. I bet you're not talking about the 1990s comic book. It was from 2003 to 2013. The first season was hosted by Shannon Doherty, and then Stephen Baldwin took her place in the middle of the second. I remember that. The beginning of the third season, the show was hosted by Tracy Morgan. July 2024, it was announced that USA Network will bring the show back with Jordan Peele as the producer. It's a hidden camera prank show that puts victims into terrifying situations, usually involving movie-style special effects. I do remember that. I remember an episode where people were driving through like the desert or something, and then the car broke down, supposedly, and then there was like vampires or werewolves or something attacking the car or something. Chess is an extreme prank show where it scared people to death. The pranks end when the victim is completely terrified, and an actor would ask them, "Are you scared?" To which they usually reply in the affirmative. Then they get the reply, "You shouldn't be. You're on scare tactics." Then there was a lawsuit, apparently, in February 2003. 2 months before it premiered, Cara Blanc, a victim on the show, sued Sci-Fi, the producers, and two actors for emotional damages and had to be hospitalized multiple times due to the incident. In July 2003, the court ruled in favor of the plaintiff, adding in non-economic and punitive damages. Maybe don't be on the show if you think there's a chance of that. I think you would have to like sign off on that crap, right? Apparently, they had 106 episodes. I'm not even going to try to figure out what you were trying to say there, Frank. Someone said that the new scare text is very disappointing. There's something missing to the pranks. They feel very rushed. Tracy Morgan just doesn't. He just seems annoying to me. Sorry, but I know you guys love him, but they said the added context before and after the plank is so unnecessary. Yeah, I might have seen a couple of episodes or parts of episodes here and there. Frank did say S. I. Uns Vorny, which is Swedish for I don't really like that show. I love the Nextdoor app because people are just dumb. This person an hour ago posted, I'm not trying to be mean, but what's going on with inspections? My neighbor still has Christmas decorations in their yard, and everything in the front entrance is dead. This has never happened before. And then this woman says, well, I'm 71 and never heard of a date someone should take them down. It's January 7th, LOL. And then somebody else said, it's February and not January. And then that woman said, this is her, the news said January. Well, but it's not January. And then, have you seen your neighbor? If not, I would call JSO and do a wellness check because that's where we're going to go. Oh, they're obviously dead because they're too lazy to take down their Christmas stuff. Go knock on the door. Neighbors check on each other. Well, they should. Or mind your own damn business. We have neighbors driving through that still have Christmas lights and stuff on. We had our Christmas up a couple of weeks later than normal because my wife was so busy. In fact, we were driving around Saturday when we hit little free libraries in like St. Augustine down to Ormond Beach where my mom lives before we went to see my mom on Saturday. And one person had on their front of their house the giant abominable snowman from the Rudolph classic. Like maybe they just really like it and they're like, we're just going to leave this up. It's cold out and it's the abominable snowman. Giant 8-foot blow up of it. I don't know. Man, the spam messages are just unreal today. Unreal. I'll say it like that. Now that football's over, we can get back into baseball. Red Sox made a big trade today. Which is good. Chess, has anyone seen Hers on Netflix? Started watching it. Shelly and I did a video review of it on my YouTube. So you can watch it. I don't know what the heck. I don't know what Frank is saying. I don't even know what that even means. We did see it. It was good. It wasn't great. The lead, the woman, I don't like her at all, and neither does my wife. So it was that. But then my mother watched it, and she said she liked the woman, but she did not like John Bernthal, whatever his name is. She said he was too manic in it. She didn't like it. Chess, remember when if you wanted to watch baseball, you could, and you didn't have to subscribe to 6 different streaming services just for local games? Yes, the good old days. You put on, oh, the Mets are on, put on Channel 9. The Yankees are on, put on Channel 11. Did my Red Sox win? I won't know till tomorrow when my dad gets the paper. And now they're making it even harder because the FanDuel, whatever the network is, they basically um, didn't make payments to like 9 teams. So all those teams now are going to be managed by the MLB.TV, which is just the owners. And you have to have like the ESPN mobile app, and you have to have, like, you got to pay $30 a month for that, and then you pay $200 for it's just the whole thing is just ridiculous. And even right, even if it's like, oh, this is our local team, yeah, we can't watch them. With that FanDuel, those FanDuel networks going out now, they won't be able to play the Rays or the Marlins games. Not that I really care, but the Red Sox used to play the Rays 19 times a year, and I would at least be able to watch a good chunk of their games there. Chaz says, I wish we could just boycott for a few weeks and force them to make it easier. Yeah, well, we will, because in 2027, when they go on strike, we won't have baseball at all. Athletes are already ridiculously overpaid. Yes. Yes, but my argument is without the athletes, none of these teams are making any money. And there's billions of dollars of revenue coming in, whether or not the owners want to admit that or not. So, would you rather the billionaires keep getting more and more billions, or these people? But in the grand scheme of things, the a pitcher that used to live here when he played on the AA for the Jacksonville Jumbo Shrimp, Kyle Keller, the last 4 years he's a pitcher, and he lived with us for like over 2 seasons. We still keep in touch with him. And he went to Japan for 4 years, and he made like $5 million total. And now he was signed by the Red Sox on a minor league deal, $1.9 million if he makes the team. And I think the league minimum is like $780,000, which is insane. Just insane. I remember the thing where there's a rookie was playing on the Twins, and he got his first paycheck. And Kirby Puckett came over and said, "Oh, did you got your first check?" And he's like, "Yeah." And Kirby Puckett literally took out a wad of cash from his pocket. He's like, "You want me to cash that for you?" I mean, that's and it's a true story. That's insane. You're making $800,000 for 6 months. And people are like, well, they don't get paid for spring training. They're millionaires. I don't think they're too worried about it. Oh, they got to make their own way down to Florida or down to Arizona. Oh, that's awful. That's awful. They're all chartering private jets, or they're driving their Lamborghinis. Yeah, that seems awful. They're hiring a car service to drive them from their mansion. Nope. Frank says stop paying $50 million for pitchers with 4.68 ERAs. Yeah, yeah, New York Yankees. Actually, yeah, Los Angeles Dodgers. Actually, all teams. The when Kyle was here, when he pitched, he got to the major leagues with the Marlins. We got to go down to Miami and see him um, down there and hung out with him for a little bit. Then he was traded to, I think, the Angels for a season. Then he went to Pittsburgh for a season. But then he kept getting knocked back down to AAA, going back and forth. Again, he had that 4.68 ERA, but he was a lefty pitcher in his 20s. So he would sign on somewhere, and they offered him a bunch of minor league deals, and then I think a team in Japan offered him like $1 million as a reliever. He's not even a starting pitcher; he's just a reliever. And then he went there, and he bounced up back and forth from their minor leagues to their Japanese major leagues the first 2 seasons. And then year 3, they offered him like $1.5 million on another team in Japan. And then last year he pitched for that team again. He didn't go to the minors the last 2 seasons. And apparently he pitched well enough that the Red Sox are taking a flyer on him, which is exciting. So my wife sent him a message back and forth the other day, was like, as you know, Armand is a huge Red Sox fan. So I'm like, oh, if he makes the team, I'll have to get a Kyle Keller jersey. I still love me some baseball, though. I'm looking forward to the game I play out of the park. Then this probably next month, a new version of it will come out. Usually about a week or so before first game. And I think March 25th is first game this year, very early, which is nice. Me and Dan Padavona both play. I don't play directly against him, I don't believe. But I enjoy that game. Enjoy that game a lot. I enjoy charging my watch a lot. Frank says, can you watch your watch time tick up in real time as we watch you? Yes, I believe it's physically possible. I'm going to be honest with you, mentally, I don't know if I can handle that. I also just burped. I had so for the cheesesteak, my wife had bought me a box of, normally I just get like mushrooms in the can because I eat a lot of mushrooms. I like mushrooms. I haven't had mushroom coffee in a while, but I like mushrooms. She bought me freshly sliced, that little tub of mushrooms. Well, I did not put them in with the cheesesteak because either the recipe didn't have it in there or I missed that part of the recipe. So it's like, what am I going to do with these? So I Dumped them in some oil with some of the remaining green and red peppers and onions that were also fresh, not frozen, and some little bit of garlic powder, some salt and pepper, and then half a dozen or so shrimp. Threw those in, got them nice and warm, nice and hot, and then a bag of Uncle Ben's rice. 90 seconds in the microwave. I put it in for 91 seconds because, I'm a rebel. And then mixed it all together, and that was my lunch today. I thought that's a pretty good lunch. Chicken tonight. I don't know if you know that if I've said this 100 times. Chicken. Tonight. Chicken. He's going to the Flyers? No, nobody's to the Flyers. Who goes to the Flyers? People leave the Flyers. All right, I finished the page. I'm going to finish this page, and then I'm looking about wrapping this up. Appreciate everybody hanging out with me today. Appreciate the new people hanging out with me, especially on YouTube Live. I'll be back tomorrow on YouTube Live. And appreciate everybody hitting the subscribe button. And I appreciate everybody watching videos. Again, thank you, Chad Lutsky. Just feel free to just let them run in the background. That's what they're there for. First rate in the house, lurking and listening. I appreciate it. Appreciate the lurking. I appreciate the listening. Appreciate all 5 of those things. Now I just need this guy to finish up this 3D box set cover. Ted Leslie says no problem. That's what I love about the guy. Humble. The guy is humble. I got to the next page on that one too. Flying. First Red says, later today I'm going to listen to your takes on audiobooks and how you chose beta readers. I appreciate it. I appreciate you watching any and all videos. Thank you. Frank Gather says, oh, chicken. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know if I told you. Chicken tonight. I'll put that in the fan group too. Perfect. Appreciate it. Trying to get the word out, you know? Trying to get the word out. Since that came out, though, I did see a slight uptick the last couple of days in my my audiobooks. Wow. Had a good day yesterday. Had a very good day yesterday in audiobook sales for the first time in a while. Frank says, come on, guy. How do you spell gulag? I guess that's it. Gulag. Yep, that's it. Gulag. It's a funny word. Yep, got it right. I mean, I get it right the first time. Frank says, I'm so awesome at being humble. Yes, when I was talking about Chad Lutsky being humble, obviously I was also throwing you into that mix because that makes sense. My neighbor just went by. I don't like that guy. That guy's like a clown prince. Ooh, I just burped. So I broke 13,000 words of the 30,000 I need to write for this last Severed Press book. And I've been writing it a lot in the last week or so. And it's one of those, I just want this thing done. I just want it off my plate, off my board. And that would be nice. It does not look like my Kickstarter is going to hit $1,000. I'm at 345, I believe, but I'm fine with that because there's a publisher that I'm going to be sending the novella to. If it doesn't work out, I'll release the box set on my own. Key says Severed Press passed on my Bigfoot book. Sad face. Huh. That's interesting. They probably have a lot of Bigfoot books though lately. That's the problem. They're always like, once you get in with them, then you'll be like, all right, what are you looking for? And then they'll just tell you. Chad says, favorite Kuntz book, Armand, go. Phantoms. That was the one as a teenager that scared me. Loved that book. I'm going to be honest with you, though. This new one, A Friend of the Family, or The Friend of the, whatever the name was, the name of this book. The Friend of the Family that just came out. I loved it. And I didn't think I was. When I first started, I'm doing the, you'll see it in probably about 3:00. I'm going to be posting up my review of it. Everybody, please watch it. Frank says, remember Ragu chicken tonight, simmer sauces. It's basically, I go to my wife, I say, hey, I took out chicken for dinner. And then she has something, and it's like one of those Food Network shows, like Chopped or something. And then she's like, all right, I'll have to figure out what ingredients I have in the house. Charlie says, that sucks about the Kickstarter. I want my books. I know. And I appreciate you, by the way, Charlie. I appreciate you being one of the 5 people who invested in it. He says, I'm thinking it wasn't enough horror in the tale. I'm gonna say something, and maybe I shouldn't say this. I'm not gonna say it. Charlie says, I think Phantoms is my favorite too, but I've only read maybe 10 Kuntz books. I read everything from 1969, his science fiction paperbacks, and he put those out. I bought a bunch of those on eBay years ago and read them. They're awful, but I read them, and then I read everything up. And then obviously I was reading his books in the 70s and in the 80s when he was writing under pen names, and I didn't realize at the time those were those books. And then they re-released them under his name. So there's a lot of really good action and adventure science fiction stuff he put out back in the day. But since he's been on this Amazon contract, as soon as they're coming out, I am reading them. And they're all on Kindle Unlimited, which makes it a lot easier. Keith says, I bought Phantoms for my mom because she loved butterflies, only reason, and she ended up loving it. Very nice. Mr. Frank says something that's, I don't know what. Chad says stovetop stuffing. I'm staying. I love stovetop stuffing. My wife hates it. Keith says tease. I don't want to just blurt out the secret to Severed Press. I'll send you a message. Frank says, Neil? Frank, are you having a conversation with us? Or are you having a stroke? Because a lot of times they say people who are having a stroke, they shout out and type the word Neil with a question mark. So, I mean, that's a little disconcerting. Shelly says not. Shelly does not like stovetop. She is not a fan. Me, love it. Frank says, last one until the next one. All right, Frank, you keep having that conversation. I will sometimes be like, you know what I'm going to have for lunch? Box of stovetop. I don't want anything else. Chad says the secret is to have Hunter, Shay, and Armand as red shirts in your book. Yeah, this last one I'm right now has Hunter Shea. Maybe the last Hunter Shea story I will ever write. I probably should kill him then. Somebody asked me about Hunter. Oh, Peter Marsh. He's like, the Amazon keeps recommending his books. I'm like, read them. Then read his books. I'll probably go about another 5 or 6 minutes or so. Keith, I'm gonna message you right now. All right, sent you a message, Keith. Chad says, I've only read 3 Dean Koontz books, but like them all, though 2 were very samey, The Bad Place and Dragon Tears. My favorite is Intensity. All good books. I mean, unfortunately, Dean Koontz went through that thing where he's like, I'm going to have a magic dog in every book. Frank says, Chicken Marsala. I hope Shelly's still listening. That's what Frank wants for MondoCon. Chad says, another thing I like about Koontz is he doesn't make a fool of himself on Twitter. Yeah. Well, considering all of his Facebook posts are basically just a PR person typing stuff, yeah, that makes it even better. Frank says, you should say it. No possible way you'll regret it. Keith says, thank you. I gave him the skinny. That's us young kids. That's how we say things. I gave Keith the skinny on Sever Press. I'm not saying I'm skinny. I'm just, you get it. There's a thing for lemon chicken piccata. That's how my mother says it. Piccata. We were at my mom's Saturday, and my wife kept making fun of the way my mom talks like a person from New Jersey. Thought it was quite amusing. Frank says, LOL, I must have rewound the feed. That's why I was commenting behind. Oh, good job. Good job keeping in touch. There's Nick Zinn. Literally 3 minutes before I get off here. Because, I start this at noon. Why do I start this at noon instead of 1 p.m.? Oh, so Nick Zinn can join in because he complained so much and so loudly complained that 1 p.m. was just too late for me. It's just too late. I just can't possibly get on. Now it's 1:17, and here he comes. like it's nothing. Like I'm just gonna waltz in here. Frank says just in time to be late for the 1 p.m. stream. Exactly. And Nick says sounds like me. You know, at least you're owning it, my friend. At least you're owning it. Exactly, Keith. Exactly. Frank says, and clearly still using Twitch like an old fart. Yeah, why are you on Twitch? So starting tomorrow, Nick. Actually, starting like this week, I'm only going to be on Twitch and YouTube Live on Mondays. The rest of the week, I will just be on YouTube Live. So make sure you are following along properly. Thank you. Thank you for your support. Thank you for watching videos. Nick says my Mondo coins are only future investment. Yeah, you basically use them every Monday. But then again, if you use them, you got to tell me because. But still, listen. Still, I need you to still hit the subscribe button over on Twitch because I still need that money as well. Unless you want me to raise the price of MondoCon every year. Nick says this is like when I had to buy CDs when my cassettes played just fine. Yeah, pretty much. That's what I've been saying. Again, I still need of the money coming in from all of these different places. Getting a lot of spammy follows on Substack this week. A lot. Frank says mushroom coffee. No, I keep forgetting. The problem is that the box of mushroom coffee is underneath two other boxes of coffee right now, and I had a bunch of them I had pulled out and put on the counter, like 4 or 5, but then I drank all of those a while ago. So really, I'm going to need to just do that. I do like mushroom coffee, though. All right, I'm wrapping this up. Thank you, everybody, for watching. I appreciate it. Those who are watching on YouTube Live, especially, because I need every minute. Every minute counts. I should be on tomorrow, but only YouTube Live. I will be on Wednesday and Friday, only on YouTube Live. So, Nick, whenever you decide to pop in the last couple minutes of the feed, make sure. I appreciate everybody watching past episodes of this and videos and stuff. Chad Lutsky, 18 hours I think he watched this weekend. I really appreciate that. Nick says, best 90 minutes of my life condensed into 7. You know what, though, Nick? Thanks for at least popping in. Mr. Frank said something obscene. I'm out of here. Appreciate it. I will have my review of the Dean Koontz book probably in an hour or an hour and a half. Or 97 minutes. Who can say?